Get ready for the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Nico, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Get them sticks down and get the pucks to the net. This is Keith Robert War, and you're watching Rockin' Hockey.
Hunter McDonald with the Northeastern Huskies, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey, everybody, this is Stoney Curtis from the Stoney Curtis Band and Count 77, and you are watching the Rockin' Hockey Show.
I'm Maksy, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show. I know, it's the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey guys, I'm Claudia Heuser, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
I'm Blake Humphrey from Sacred Heart, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Jeff Tortora, Blue Man Group, Femmes of Rock, Count 77. This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Mickey, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey everybody, I'm Nina D from the Femmes of Rock, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Kiara Zan, and I play on Penn State, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is hockey, the way it should be. Welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
The Rockin' Hockey Show. This is the Rockin' Hockey Show. This is Rockin' Hockey.
Hey, this is BU Hockey, and you're watching
the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is the Rockin' Hockey Show. This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show, where our host wishes it was OBR season all year long, Coach Dave Maksy.
Hey, what's up, rockers and hockers? This is the Rockin' Hockey Show. This is a place where great hockey content, great music collide. Yes, right here. Make sure you check us out if this is your first time watching the show. Load up that people's elbow and smash that subscribe button. Make sure you also check out the Rockin' Hockey Podcast on all major podcast platforms. And hey, man, we got a great show for you today. I'm going to get through this quickly because my last couple intros have been way too long, so I'm going to get done talking really fast and get rocking right away. I want to thank from our last show from the NFL quarterback Caleb Haney of the Chicago Bears, Dallas Cowboys. Caleb came on the show, did a great interview, talked a lot about his love for the game of hockey and how it relates to football and how he teaches his kids to love hockey as well. Coming up on this show, man, we got a great guest from the Rochester Red Wings AAA Baseball Club, General Manager Dan Mason. Average Joe and I sat down with Dan out at Innovative Field, right out in left field. Had a great view of the city, great view of the ballpark. It was a beautiful day. Had a great interview with Dan. Dan shares with us his insights on managing elite level players every day for the last 35 years. Plus, Dan shares his love for the game of hockey. Grew up playing hockey, won a sectional championship in high school, coached his son for many, many years, and still plays today. We also got a great skill development session on today's show, talking about skating, summertime skating, how to work on your stride in the off season. Got great skits. We got Did You Knows? This is the Rockin' Hockey Show. Let's say hi to the band. All right, remember, this is the show where the hockey rocks. And the music sucks. Take it away, Lord Stanley's brother. Rocking this, yes, Rockin' Hockey merch is now available to you. Check it out at shinnyhockeyco.com. This one, my favorite, or you can rock a hoodie. or this hoodie. Again, get your Rockin' Hockey merch right here at shannyhockeyco.com. Today's interview brought to you by Trotta. Check them out at trottarochester.com. Hey, welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show, and we are live here at Innovative Field, home of the Rochester Red Wings. Arj, we're taking our show on the road today, and we're here with General Manager Dan Mason. Dan, how are you?
Good, guys. Good to see you.
Oh man, it's what a day, huh?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Can't beat it.
Too bad they won't let us on the field to play.
I was told it would be batting practice.
So listen, Dan Mason, General Manager of the Rochester Red Wings, on the show with us today. And this follows in a long line of our last several shows where we branched off. We had lacrosse general manager Dan Carey on. We had baseball umpire Dave Condon on. So branching off in a lot of things, but it all comes back to hockey. And this is the Rockin' Hockey Show. So if it's the first time you're watching or listening to the show, this is the Rockin' Hockey Show podcast. But there's also the Rockin' Hockey Show on YouTube where you get to see us live. So if you hear this interview on the podcast, at some point you'll get to see it on the YouTube channel as well, where you get to see us in person. How sexy we are, and
beautiful field.
The beautiful field behind us, the backdrop of the city. Wow, it doesn't get much better. It's much better than the basement.
Yeah, definitely better than our
the Rockin' Hockey lair is nice, but this is much better. So listen, before we get into Dan, let's talk a little bit of hockey. Actually, before, just so if you're listening, I meant to say that this is a Rockin' Hockey Show. We talk hockey from youth hockey up to the NHL and back down to youth hockey. Mainly youth hockey oriented, skill development, player development. So if you're a hockey enthusiast, you're a hockey parent, this is the place where you can get lots of great information from professionals like Dan Mason on who's been there and done that and can share their insights on how to develop properly. So this is the Rockin' Hockey Show, and I hope you enjoy this great interview with Dan Mason and the Rochester Red Wings. Before we get into that, Arj, Edmonton and Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going to pick, well, I think is going to win, but who I want to win, I'm going to go with Edmonton. I want them to win. Dan, what do you think?
I'm with you. I want Edmonton. I'm a big Bruins fan, so
oh boy.
For the first time in my life, I cheered for the New York Rangers.
I think I'm with you. I cheered for the Rangers as well.
And because I just can't stand Florida. And I love watching Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
The guy is definitely the most exciting player in the world right now. And so, for fans to get an opportunity to watch him one more round of the playoffs, and hopefully he wins the cup. And anybody but Florida.
Well, that's what we were talking about this on the last show. Like, if your team's not playing Florida, you love how they play hockey. They grind, they just go at you. But then on the other hand, you have almost like that opposite with McDavid and Draisaitl and how just beautiful they play hockey. Like, they're almost like they're thinking 3 moves ahead, those two, and they're just looking at each other going, hey, you know what we're going to do? Yeah, we're going to do it. And it's fun to play. I thought the NHL would rig it, and get McDavid at MSG for 4 games. Because that's, oh, stop it. Like sports aren't rigged.
Come on. It'll be interesting. It's always interesting, or it's that stepping stone for great players like McDavid. They don't truly become great until they win a championship, and that goes for any sport. Baseball, hockey, football. As great as you are, you're never truly on that pedestal until you've won a championship, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds. I know it's taken several great players multiple times to get there before they've won it.
Gretzky has that great story where when they played the Islanders, the Islanders won their last one, was him and a couple of the guys were walking by the Islanders locker room at the end of afterwards,
Stanley Cup,
and they thought, and the door's wide open, and they're like, oh great, we're gonna have to hear these guys celebrating and all that. He goes, no, we walked by, he goes, they were all basically laying down with ice packs everywhere. A couple of guys were having a beer or something. He goes, but that's the difference between winning and losing. We walked out of the arena, those guys couldn't move.
Yeah.
And he goes, after that they went on their run. You have to do it to do it.
Well, like I said, it'll be interesting to see, and looking forward to that startup. I believe it starts in a couple of days
The
here.
8th, right? I think the 8th.
So
Saturday. I think Saturday.
Yeah.
Hey, today's Rockin' Hockey highlights brought to you by our good friends at Howie's. Howie's Hockey, you guys rock. We're going to take a quick break for the interview to check out these 2 great goals by Emily Organic. Not 1, but 2. Yes, Emily outskates, outshoots, and outscores her opponents. Check these great goals out from Emily Organic. Awesome goals, Emily. Keep rocking. So let's talk baseball. Dan, do you have a favorite baseball team?
Well, the Red Wings.
Other than the Red Wings?
My favorite team. And my favorite Major League team is the Washington Nationals.
I would never guess that.
I grew up a Red Sox fan, and I remember one of my first days on the job here at with the Wings. I was working over at Silver Stadium, and I had a Red Sox tie on. And my boss said, "Hey, Mace, can I see you for a second?" And so I walked in. He goes, "Who's your favorite team?" And I said, "Well, I'm a Red Sox fan and have been my whole life." And so I figured I'd wear this tie. And he goes, "All right, I'm going to ask you that question one more time.
And we'll give you another shot at it.
And I want you to give me the correct answer." So I said, "Is it the Baltimore Orioles?" Because that was our affiliate at the time.
It's over. Yeah.
So ever since then, that was a valuable lesson I learned in my career, is that whoever our affiliate is, that's our favorite team, and it should be, because
that's right.
That's where our guys are going, right? And it's so cool to see players playing here at Innovative Field one night, and the very next night you see them on TV or on SportsCenter or whatever. And it's a really great thing about being a fan of the Wings.
Well, we were talking about that on the way up. Like, you're at that intersection. You have that really great rookie, and but then you also had Gallo down, right? Like for a couple games. So you got guys who have thousands of games of experience, and you got guys that are trying to get up. My father-in-law lives 5 minutes from Somerset, and Cole's pitching tonight, standing room only.
Yep.
Like, and he's like, I can't stand for that long of a game. He
Yeah.
goes, but he wants to go watch him play. But I mean, if you think about it, they got him, Dominguez, Spencer Jones, and a couple of Ben Rice, the catcher. And it's like, dude, for $7 I can go and see these guys play. I mean, and that's the great part about coming here all the time, is you get to see, you know, the old guys and new guys and everybody. It's awesome.
No doubt about it. And you never know if you're going to be watching a future Hall of Famer out here. At any point in time, we like to say it's history on deck, because you never know which one of these guys is going to be, you know, perennial Major League All-Stars or Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean, it works out where I come to a lot of the Yankee games. But I was here for one of the...
And I don't hold that against you.
I do. Well, you can, but your team's a AAA team playing Major League Baseball, so I don't know.
I'm a Detroit guy.
But,
all right.
I mean, I was here for the Strasburg, one of the original Strasburg game, and that was awesome. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, we can say the same thing at hockey, like when we see some of these young kids going through the system, and all of a sudden, dude, that kid was just here a minute ago, he got drafted. You know, it's like, it's awesome.
Well, you guys are jumping the gun a little bit here. We're going to get more into that talk as we go. But let's talk, Dan, let's talk a little bit about you. Now, you've been here for going on 30 years. Is that correct, or is it past 30 years?
This is my 35th season with the team, and my 30th as the GM.
I don't do math very well.
That's
so.
all right. I don't either.
So 2 titles Dan has under his belt. 90 and 97?
90 and 97, yes.
2 titles, and you guys have won multiple awards as an organization for just doing a fantastic job. But I think the one that stands out most is 3-time Executive of the Year.
I just got lucky. I guess it was just my turn.
Come on,
You're around for this long, and then people feel sorry for you, and they give you those kind of accolades. But got a great staff, and that's really, to me, it's really more of a staff award than it is an individual award. And you know, over the years, we've had some phenomenal employees and phenomenal front office staffs, and our goal is really to create memories for our fans and make it fun, whether the team wins or loses, because honestly, as a GM, we have no control over what happens on the field. That's all dictated by our parent club, which currently is the Washington Nationals. And so our job is really to make sure that people have a great time whenever they come out here and make some great memories with their family and friends.
Well, that answers some questions, which I'll get to in a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about your job and what a great organization you guys have here, and obviously you being the chief executive here of running the show. Is I love it coming to the games. RJ and I come a lot. I bring my family a lot. But it's always interesting, where are we going to see Dan Mason at? Is he going to be on the field talking? Is he going to be handing out cotton candy? Is he going to be pouring beer at one of the vendors' places? Is he going to be up in the booth? I mean, any given night, you do it all here. You must love your job.
Oh yeah, I think I heard somebody say once that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And for the last 35 years, I don't feel like I've been working. I mean, it's long hours. It's a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, I leave here with a smile on my face every night. You know, I smile a little harder when we win.
Yeah.
But you know that I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate to have done what I've done for this team, the team that I grew up going to games at Silver Stadium.
Right.
And now to work for the team is a dream come true.
Well, that leads me to my next question, Dan. And Arjun and I were talking. We're trying to figure out what exactly a general manager does during the day. Excuse me. I mean, do you like wake up at noon, maybe play a little golf, roll into the stadium at like 4 o'clock, put your game face on? Is that kind of what you got? Day in the life of the general manager? Or?
That would be pretty good. Right?
I know, right?
No, like on a game day, I usually get here about 9, and then usually, you know, most of my day is spent either in meetings or on the phone or returning emails or text messages or all the other kind of ways that people can get a hold of you these days.
Yeah.
And then once the players start getting here, we usually check in with our manager, Matt LeCroy, and the coaches, see if they need anything, see if the players need anything. And then, you know, just making sure that the ballpark is ready for the game, ready for our fans.
When he says that, I hear him say, we sample the food to make sure it's high quality.
Make sure the beer's cold. Make sure the peanuts are ready to go.
That's what I hear. Let's see.
Quality control is a very important part of my gig.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, I heard they have a great roast beef sandwich down there. Let's go check it out.
Awesome. We timed this right for the train to come by too, Art. So
we talked about this every time. Who was the lefty that hit the train? Like there was a train that was stopped there. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a Red Wing guy. He pulled it right down the line. And it was before these trees were bigger back there. It was maybe about 12, 15 years ago.
It might have been Justin Morneau.
Yeah, it could have been. It was when he was here.
He hit some of the farthest home runs I've ever seen.
Like, because we talked about that all the time. Like, you could pull if you got to pull a ball because it's like somebody said it's like 380 to
the train track.
It's probably a little more. It's probably more like 400 something. Yeah. But it's still it's a really good poke.
Yeah.
But
that'd be so
we've had
cool.
some guys blasted out there for sure.
Yeah,
so back to what you do, Dan, and you mentioned this a little bit, and just seriously out of curiosity, for player development, you said the big club handles all that stuff. So you don't really work on day to day with the players. That comes from the big club.
Yeah, they make all the decisions in terms of who's going to be on our roster, who's going up to the big leagues, who we're going to call up from AA. All those decisions,
including who's starting,
all those are made by the Washington Nationals, and you know the lineup itself is dictated by our manager Matt LeCroy. So now we work hand in hand with the players very closely to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible while they're here. So while we can't make decisions on who's on our team, whoever we have here, it's our job to make sure that they have a great experience here and give them all the tools that they need to develop into future Major League stars.
So it's slightly different than, like, say, the Amerks guy, where they sign, I think, half the team to themselves. So everybody on the team is right from the Nationals down.
Correct. So all those guys, all our players, our coaches, our trainer, our strength coach, all those guys are employees of the Washington Nationals, and they are here playing for the Wings during the season.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, that helps out a lot. I often wondered how you did your all the player stuff while you were running around the stadium worrying about everything else.
So much stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I know you're
like
good.
I said, we work closely, very much hand in hand with the Nationals. We're in constant communication with them, in constant communication with our manager and our players. But as I describe my job to people, I often say, if we stink, it's not my fault. But we don't stink. We don't stink.
No.
We got a really good team this year with a great mix of veteran guys who have major league experience, as well as guys that have never made it to the major leagues yet, but they will someday very soon. And that's really what you take, like any great team, right? Same thing with hockey, with football, basketball. Any great team, you need chemistry. It's a huge part of success as a team. And sometimes the teams that we've had here are not maybe the teams that are the most have the biggest names or the most talent. It's also, you need talent obviously, but you also need chemistry. You need guys to get along at least when they're between the white lines.
Right. Right. So I was going to ask this question later, but we'll talk about it now. So as far as how big is the step from the Rochester Red Wings to the Washington Nationals? Is it tremendous, or is it just a little step, but there's so many details that go along with it?
I think it's a big step, but it's closer than what you might think, and that is evidenced by the fact that most of the players that you see, or a good number of players that you see playing for the Wings and for whoever our opponent is that night, have major league experience. So it's guys that are playing at AAA definitely have enough ability and skill to play in the major leagues at the next level. And like I said, you're either going to be watching guys that have been there and are down here trying to work on their craft to get back, or guys that are on their way, that the Nats or our opponents see enough promise in these young men to know that they have a chance to help their major league teams.
What about the step below the Rochester Red Wings?
I think AA to AAA is probably a bigger step. Because you don't see as many guys with major league experience playing in AA.
Yeah, just for rehab stuff.
Yeah, and pitching, for instance, right? I mean, pitching is such a huge part of the game, but you see pitchers up here that have a lot of time in the major leagues, and they know how to pitch, where in AA, there's plenty of guys that know how to pitch, but it's also guys that are maybe throwing more than they're pitching.
Right. And they're learning the craft.
They're learning how to get guys out, and it's more difficult. Every level that you go up, guys become more selective in the pitches that they're going to swing at.
Right.
So maybe in single A and AA, guys are going to swing at pitches that are outside of the zone, whereas here they're much more selective.
Right.
And that's one of the things as a hitter you learn as you work your way up, is how to be a little more selective and wait for your pitch.
Well, the reason I asked that question too is back to youth sports, not just hockey in general, but so many parents say, look at, or hockey people say, you're never going to make it. Only a small percentage make it to college sports. Only even a smaller percentage make it to professional sports, and then even a smaller make it to the top of their profession, whether it's Major League Baseball or NHL. And to me, it's such a discouraging conversation for young athletes.
Right.
Even though it's the truth, it's a discouraging conversation because you want people to follow their dreams.
Yeah.
And being a AAA general manager, you must have a lot of guys that play here that aspire to do that, but just never quite get there too.
But I can't tell you how many times a guy has toiled in the minor leagues for 8 years or 9 years or 10 years, and then they finally make it. It's the greatest thing in the world to be in that clubhouse when they find out they're going to the major leagues after so many people told them, yeah, you're a really good player, but you're probably not good enough, right? But you have to have baseball, like every sport. It's a very mental sport. It's a grind. It's a very negative sport. If you succeed 3 out of 10 times in baseball, you're one of the best at what you do. Now, what else can you be successful at 3 out of 10 times and be considered really good at what you do? Right?
That's an amazing stat. It really is.
And so it takes a certain stick-to-itiveness. So I would never want to tell a guy, you're never going to make it, because you just never know.
Well, we talked about passion in our last show, passion to play the game, and that falls in line with what you just said. Is you make it here by work ethic, by being disciplined, but you got to have that passion to play the game, to fight through any adversity you might encounter.
No doubt. And I think, when I was coaching youth hockey, I used to tell the kids all the time, will over skill. I'll take a locker room full of guys. They're going to give it everything they've got over, 4 or 5 guys that are extremely talented. Now, everybody needs talent. Yeah. But there's something about, I think especially with hockey, more so than any other sport, right? You got to be a grinder. You got to go into the corner and fight for that puck.
To be successful, you have to be multifaceted with what you can accomplish, because your skill will only get you so far. Check out this next goal by Tessa Hunt. She goes top shelf for Mama Hides and Cookies. Great goal, Tessa. So Dan, we just talked about, we're jumping all over. I got my notes here, but we keep skipping pages. So we talked about, you as a coach. Now let's talk a little bit about your hockey. Arj and I have been talking about getting you on a show for probably 3 or 4 years easily. We got to get Dan Mason. He's a hockey guy. Let's talk a little bit about your hockey background.
So, I mean, hockey was my, while I work in baseball, I played baseball till I was about 7th or 8th grade, and I just kind of, I wasn't good enough to play in high school, and hockey was always my passion, and played since I was a little kid. Had a rink in my backyard, and I think that's, that rink in my backyard, I owe my dad a ton of gratitude, because that's where I got better. It was in my backyard. Those long nights, after doing homework, hit the floodlights on and go outside. It was nothing like it, man. And those memories are so great. And I love hockey. I still do, and love to play it. Love to coach it. Hockey's been very, very good to me. Chico Escuela once said.
It sounds like he wants to be a Tuesday morning call-up.
Yeah, well, I think he's on an IR. Are you still on a?
Yeah, I had. Unfortunately, I've had some concussions. I know you probably couldn't tell from this interview, but I've had some concussions. So my doctor said maybe I should chill out for a while. But the hope is that someday I'll get back out there, because I miss it tremendously. I haven't played in a couple of years.
Well, you're always welcome. We do a pickup skate on Tuesday mornings at 11:30 at RIC. And it's a great day, a great time to skate. Everybody's still fresh.
Yeah.
Nobody's tired from work, hungover, whatever.
No, and we got a
lot of good players. Yeah,
we can make sure him and Dan Carey are on opposite sides, so we can have a GM off. That'd be great.
So you also, you played at McQuaid. You won a couple at least one championship there.
One sectional title when I was a junior, and then we lost in the finals my senior year. But great memories. I remember as a 5th grader, there was a guy on McQuaid, Stu McKenzie, who still lives in town.
I know
plays
Stu.
hockey.
I know Stu.
So he was my coach, and he said, "You got to go to a McQuaid game." And I was all set to go to Bishop Kearney. That's where my siblings all went. And I went to a McQuaid game, and I heard the drum, and I watched the team, and I was like, "Oh man, this is where I'm going to go." And thankfully, Bob Peterson was my coach junior year. Kept me on the squad, and then played for Al Viverberg, another Section 5 legend, my senior year.
Wow. And then you coached your son throughout his playing career as well.
Yes.
So that this show is all about youth development and junior development, college development. As a coach, or doing what you've done for 35 years now, look back on your coaching career. Would you do anything different on how you handled coaching, knowing what you know now of what it takes to get there, the little details that it takes for guys to make it to the pro level? Is there anything that you would do different? When I was putting this interview together, I'm like, I think that would be a good question to ask him, if based on what you know, how would you coach your youth hockey, your son, but just the rest of the team?
Yeah, I think.
Because you already mentioned that you got to have the will and the grit to play. Knowing what you know now, would you present it any differently?
I don't know. And times have changed. Obviously, I think kids change. Obviously, and so how people are coaching nowadays is probably a lot different than how I was coached, and even a little bit how I coached. But I don't know if I would do anything differently. That's a good question. But I tried to be, tried to impart whatever little skill that I had onto the kids that I was coaching, but also, some of that knowledge that I'd gotten from the coaches that I had previously. But I tried to make it fun. At the end of the day, I think the last thing you do when the kids leave the ice should be something that makes them want to come back and get on the ice again.
Right.
And kids are motivated differently, just like adults are motivated differently, right? But everybody likes to have fun.
Yep.
And so I tried to as a coach, make sure that at least that last 2 or 3 minutes was a drill that could accomplish something, but also was fun to make them want to come back.
Now, and previous shows, we've talked about the impact that youth coaches have on players, and how you look back when you become an adult and you think about that one time that coach yelled at me, or that one coach that really brought you up into your game. Do you feel like you were impactful on some of these young players, like your son, for example? Did you guys ever talk about your locker room speeches?
It's hard, right? It's hard to coach your kids, right? Because you don't want to show favoritism, but you also don't want to be too hard on them, right? And so I think we had a lot of conversations over the years about that, and I would ask him every year, do you want me to do this? Because I'm not going to coach if you don't want me to coach.
Right.
And he always did. So, and I'm thankful for that, because we have some incredible memories from being on the ice together. And one of the great things about my job here is I see so many people from my past that I would never ever, see if I wasn't working here.
Right.
So this last homestand, I saw 3 different kids that I had coached at various levels. And they all came up to me and talked to me. So I guess
that's a good thing.
They didn't hate me. I guess.
We have that talk all the time, like being at the rink. Like I was at Canal Days this weekend for Fairport, and I have a booth, and between the kids between the ages of 21 and 35, and I still call those guys kids.
Yeah.
And they stopped by the booth just to say hi and ask how I'm doing. My wife was like, "You could run this town just on those kids voting for you," because she goes, every kid that stopped and said hi. She goes, and I'm like, yeah, but you know what though? It means you impacted them at some point in their life. I mean, Dave gets it all the time.
I get it. Some of the stuff I get, which is funny to me, is not only do they remember playing for me, but they remember my locker room speeches.
Yeah.
That means they were actually listening.
Yes.
When you think that these kids don't care, they're not listening, but then 15 years later you run into them and they can recite what you said in that one game where you were losing 10-0,
or like a great moment or something like that, and they remember it so vividly. It's like it's
They
unbelievable.
remember tournaments. They remember, big games. It is great, and I love it when somebody will come up to me that I used to coach and they'll call me Coach Mason instead of Mr. Mason.
Yes,
because that is what they think. That's how they view you. That's how they think of you.
Well, that's like with Luke from the rink, Mr. Bill Lucazonis. I call him Coach.
Yeah.
I don't call him anything else. I always do, and then everybody's like, "Who are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Dude, he's coached 90% of youth. These kids at some point around here."
Right.
But that's just what you do. It's a sign of respect, and
Coach me at hockey school.
There you go. Oh, in the All-American hockey camp.
Yeah, he was responsible for me really doing what I've done for the last 30 years. Not all responsible, but when I first started working at the rink there, he was teaching, and he took me under his wing and showed me how he taught. And here it is 30 years later, and I'm still teaching hockey for a living.
And so is he.
Yeah, and so is he.
He's still doing his adult classes on usually Sunday nights, but in the summer they go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and he's probably put more adults into men's league or adult league hockey now than probably anybody in the history of this town. And it's hilarious how people just remember him, just his hair.
For sure.
His hair
He's got great salad.
Oh, he looks great.
Our last Rockin' Hockey highlight is a series of highlights of great goals, great sellies, and great saves by our good friends Rory, Mickey, Izzy, and Noah. Great job, everybody. Keep on rocking. Switch gears a little bit. Talk a little bit about, you talked about making great memories
one of the things you did here, which is still fresh in my mind, is when you did Frozen Frontier.
Oh, it was one of the favorite events, promotions, what have you, that we've ever done.
Now, really, I got to stop you right there. Are you sure? Because to me, I thought about that. I'm like, what a great event it was, but you had to work night and day in your off season.
Yes.
But it was
so
I mean,
I wonder that's why it's never come back again.
There was a slight mutiny on my staff. Sure.
It was so awesome.
It was again, our job is to create memories for people, whether they like baseball or they don't like baseball. We want people to come to Innovative Field and have a blast. And that, the hockey community is a huge segment of our population. And we saw it as an amazing opportunity to create some incredible memories. I mean, the Amerks played here. We had Nazareth and RIT and Geneseo, and it was we had 10 high school games here, tons of men's league games.
My son played youth
a lot
hockey.
of youth hockey games here. It was from 6:30 in the morning until midnight.
I think about that all the time, especially when I see you. Man, you must have, as fun as it was, you must have also hated it at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean, this ballpark doesn't look so big unless you have to shovel it, and we had to shovel it. We had the worst weather luck.
Yeah, it was a rough winter.
It snowed the very first night. It snowed when we had our media game here, and then the Amerks were playing on. So that was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and the Amerks were playing on Friday. So we had to, and it snowed basically for 3 days straight. So we had to shovel the entire ballpark about 5 or 6 times.
Oh, so all right. So listen, Dan, we're gonna do something a little different here, and we're gonna play a game, a true and false game. Okay. Now here's the deal. There's no prizes at the end, but you have to be honest.
Okay.
You can't lie.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And if it's true, we're probably going to need to talk about it a little bit.
All right.
First one. Have you ever danced for tacos?
Ever danced for tacos?
You guys still do the taco thing where you guys dance for
tacos strikeout now.
Yeah.
Strikeout guy.
But you used to dance for tacos at one point, didn't you? Yeah, I know you did. I know you danced for tacos.
I don't know. I don't know if I danced for tacos.
No, but you've never danced for tacos?
I think our fans have.
Your fans dance, but I thought maybe sometime you were out there and you just felt like dancing and you cut a rug for tacos.
I mean, it's possible.
I love the strikeout taco guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like when that guy comes up to bat, that is the loudest I cheer every game.
So you guys don't do dance for tacos anymore?
We could be down 18-0 in the 9th inning, but if the Taco Bell K-Man strikes out, it's the loudest ovation.
Dude, it's so great. I'm just like the whole time when he gets the 2 strikes, the whole time me, my kids, we're all just yelling taco, 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 taco.
All right, here's the next one, and this one is probably the biggest one right now. Have you ever had to fill in for Spikes or Mitzi?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Both or which one?
Both.
Nice.
So you've had to don the outfit, put the outfit on, and oh, that's awesome. I was hoping you would say yes.
Yeah, I've been probably 6 or 7 different mascots over the
No
course
kidding.
of my career.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
thought maybe once or twice in an emergency pinch, but 6 or 7 times.
So,
different mascots.
As general manager too, or no?
Yes.
I
That's
love
awesome.
Like, you
for those
can't
listening,
find-
Spikes and Mitzi are the mascots for the Red Wings. So Dan putting on the costume, that's great.
That's a great costume.
That's
now,
awesome.
same idea. Were you ever one guy short and you have to run in the Legends race with the?
Yes.
With the tall head
Did
guy.
you?
Yes.
You got to do that too.
And who were you? If you remember.
I believe I was Joe Tabelli.
Oh my God, the guys! Like basically, they do the sausage race, but with the Legends for the Red Wings. And
Did you do it voluntarily, or did you have to because you didn't have anybody else to run?
No, we volunteered. It was the first couple times that we ever did it. People.
I
want
wanna
to
do that so
so we
bad.
would take turns doing it, and they're
great.
very top heavy.
I can
so
imagine.
we've had a guy topple right over, and so that was my goal. Just don't fall down.
Me and my kid want to do that.
Did you win?
So bad.
I may have won. I may have
So
won.
and there's one that you probably don't have in your card. Those big animals, what are they called? The
superstars.
The superstars. Have you ever let that thing eat you?
Clammy Sosa. No,
Yeah, Clammy Sosa. It's
never
so
done
awesome. Dave, I don't know if you've ever been here for one of these games. This thing is like
I'm not sure I've seen
probably twice as wide as you. There's a human in there, and it has a mouth. And what happens is he gets really close, he hops, and he'll grab the person, and he basically pulls them in, but it looks like he's eating that person. and then they're inside the costume with them as they're running around. It's so great. It's one of the coolest things. The kids love it.
All right, last true or false question here. Have you ever had to fill in on the organ?
No.
No?
No, my musical talent is not very strong.
You didn't have to go to the bathroom or didn't feel well, and you had to start just making something up?
No, I've never played the organ. We leave that to Fred Costello, our legendary organist.
But Fred's never missed a day?
He not very often, if at all. He's the longest running organist in professional sports history.
That's what I'm saying.
No kidding.
If there is a Hall of Fame for like minor leagues, like as a contributor, Fred should be there. Like no question asked. I mean,
he's in our Hall of Fame.
I mean, he is phenomenal. And I go to different, when we're traveling for baseball, we'll go to other minor league ballparks. A lot of them have just got rid of the organ. So when I come here, I love that.
That's awesome.
It's one of the best parts about the game.
Awesome. So you may or may not any funny stories you can share. Anything.
Funny stories.
Well, while you're thinking about it, we'll tell you where it came from. Is Ernie Clement was on a couple years ago, and he told us how he met. He was the Indians coach.
Terry Francona.
Yeah, Terry Francona. So he gets down there for training camp.
This is a
and
great
he walks
story.
in and he goes, and basically he's walking in with one of the trainer guys, and he goes, "Oh, coach wanted to talk to you. He's right around the corner." So he walks around the corner. He's like, "Hey, coach, Ernie." Terry's sitting on the stall.
Sitting on the toilet.
On the toilet. And Ernie just sit there.
He goes, "Come on back, Ernie." He walks back and shakes his hand while he's sitting on the toilet.
Out, so he shakes his hand. He's just like, and he's like, "That's how I met Terry Francona."
Oh,
that's a good story.
That was a great story.
That's like with everything around here, and even over at Old Silver.
Nothing? Anything?
Any solid?
Well, we had. Let's see here. We've done a lot of different promotions over the years. One night we did. So you guys heard of Zippy Chippy? Zippy Chippy is the losingest horse in the history of horse race. So Zippy Chippy was 0-87, I believe. So I called his owner and I said, "Listen, your horse can't beat another horse, and our players are having trouble beating other players at baseball. So why don't we have one of our players race your horse?" And so they started right down here, and they raced that way. And we did it 3 seasons. The first year, our player beat Zippy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, in a 40-yard dash. The second season, Zippy won. And then the third season, Zippy won as well. And our player, but it was the lead story on SportsCenter that night. Like, you know how they're showing highlights at the beginning of SportsCenter? That was the lead story. Zippy beat him. And the player, his name was Larry Bigby, played in the big leagues with the Orioles. And I said, "Larry," and he went 0 for 4 after the game, after the race. And I said, "Listen, you went 0 for 4, but when's the last time a guy goes 0 for 4 in a AAA game and he's the lead story on SportsCenter?"
So that's a great story.
It's so good. I remember when the All-Star game, when ESPN was here for that, how much of a production that was. That was, I mean, geez, God, there's so many. There's got to be so many stories besides it. Oh God.
Well, we won't bother them anymore. Dan, doing what you do for a living, what advice can you give to young athletes?
I would say work hard, and be passionate about whatever you do, whether it's school or whether it's sports or whether it's acting or whatever you decide to do, whatever your thing is, go all in.
Yeah, make it your thing.
There's that word passion again.
Passion.
I agree with you. I love, people love being around people, high energy people, passionate people. It's infectious, right? And as a teammate, those are the kind of people you want on your team, right? And I think the other bit of advice I would give to people is to be a good teammate, because it's going to come around.
Yep.
You may be the best player on the team, and you may think you're never going to need somebody to come up to you and say, "Hey, dude, don't worry about that mistake that you made. It's going to be okay, right? We're going to be all right. We're still going to come back and win this game." And I think being a good teammate is an extremely important part of youth sports, and that kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. And that is something that you can take with you for the rest of your life.
Well, on that, that's great advice. And on that, pretty much every NHLer or pro athlete that we've talked to, they all come back to the great experience in the locker room with the team.
Yeah.
They always talk about that. That team atmosphere of being a good teammate and having great teammates with you. So great advice there, Dan. Thank you. One last topic, and then we'll let you get back to your job. I think you got tea time here soon. You got to play some golf.
No.
We're going to talk about music. This is the Rockin' Hockey Show, so we talk about music. I'm rocking my AC/DC shirt.
I love it.
What is your go-to music?
All right, first I got to say, I've seen AC/DC in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and I believe in the 2010s.
Awesome.
So, love AC/DC. Angus, got a chance to meet Angus.
Did you really?
Yes. He's about 75 pounds, soaking wet, little dude. Got to do a meet and greet with AC/DC one time. I'll never forget it. It was awesome.
That's great.
So I think, right, everybody has, if you workout music, I go AC/DC, Rage Against the Machine, Limp Bizkit.
Wow, rocking.
I know.
Now, but I will say, like, the Grateful Dead are my go-to. I listen to the Grateful Dead
when you're relaxing,
every single day.
When you're relaxing or driving.
Driving, whatever. I listen to the Dead every
Awesome.
single day. Just saw the Stones.
Did you really?
A week and a half ago.
No kidding.
They still got it. 81 years old. You talk about passion.
Yeah, those guys can rock.
Mick Jagger is still amazing, running around like a 21-year-old, not an 81-year-old.
Well, that's like we talk a lot of music. Are there any live events this year here?
We have the Dark Star Orchestra, which performs a Grateful Dead show in its entirety from start to finish, recreates different shows. So they'll be back again. I think this is their 8th annual show here. I don't know why we have a Grateful Dead band come every year. But
how does that work out?
But and then we have the Rochester Summer Soul Music Festival here as well in August. But we've had all kinds of music here. We had the PXY Summer Jam was here for many years. There's a good story. I got to meet Run DMC.
Oh, no kidding.
I got to haggle with Run DMC over t-shirt percentage. But we've had some great acts here over the years. The Beach Boys, of course, opened the stadium here back in 1996. So some great shows, and music a big part of my life too.
That's awesome. And we talk about how music brings people together.
No doubt.
What a great thing that it does, but like locker room music, getting ready for a game, no matter what sport you're playing, those last 1 or 2 songs before you hit the field or you hit the ice makes all the difference in the world. Or that song coming down the tunnel as you're hitting the ice, really, it just sets the stage for what's about to happen.
And I think just goes to show you how important music is, right? Every player, when they walk up to the plate, has a walk-up song.
Yep.
And if they're in a funk, they'll often change that. But it's a really important part of their routine. And some guys use the same song the whole year. Other guys mix it up. And this year, the players, every team is different every single year. And this year's team, if we win, they play Red Red Wine by UB40. So the hitting coach, Brian Daubach, came up to me and said, Mace, you got to start playing Red Red Wine. If we win, the guys will
go nuts.
Love it. And so we do now. We changed what used to be our song that we would play after every win. Now we play Red Red Wine, and that's specifically because this team said if we win, we want to hear that song.
Well, I bet you would never guess. I'll give you 2 guesses of what RJ's walk-up song would be.
You don't even know what my walk-up song
I know what artist it would be.
Is it a country artist?
Just pick the artist, not the song. Pick the artist, not the song.
I know what he thinks it is. He's not right.
So is it sort of country?
Yeah, we'll go sort of country, I guess.
So Chris Stapleton?
No, he thinks I'm going to pick something by Taylor Swift.
He's a Swiftie. He's a Swiftie.
Listen. Listen.
Come on.
That's not who I'd pick for my walk-up music. My walk-up music would be It Takes Two. DJ Rob Bass.
All right.
I'd do that one, and then because you usually get 2. I wouldn't even know what the second one would be. I want to have fun with it, Like
he is a Swiftie, though.
Listen,
I give him the business every time. I know.
I don't blame you for giving him.
I don't know. I
won't be able to erase that from my head.
Every
have
time you see him
two
now,
daughters.
you can't unhear that.
Come
Listen,
on, you're better than that.
I have a 21-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old daughter. I am a generational Swiftie parent, so.
All right.
But
get it.
I
get it.
respect what she does, and a Justin Timberlake song would be good too.
See what I mean?
Like that would be a good walk-up song.
The show is called Rockin'.
Hey, listen.
Not pop and hockey.
Well, we try to respect everybody's opinion, even RJ's.
Yeah,
we try to
I respect
it.
it.
Well, we were talking. Well,
I
remember
wouldn't listen to it, but I respect it.
we were talking to those guys at BC. What did they say? They were Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, yes. And Brian,
Yeah,
not Brian, but Steven Gianta, Chris Collins, rock stars at BC, national
Whitney Houston.
championship team. In their walkout song is Whitney Houston.
Was Whitney Houston.
Can you believe that?
No.
And I'm all for it. 100%.
I was floored when I heard that. I could not believe it.
When I drive the Zamboni, it's you either got to play Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, or something else like that. Gets me in the mood.
All right.
I do have one quick story, and then we'll wrap this up. And I knew that you were going to say it because I think didn't Joe Mauer get inducted in the Hall of Fame last year? When I was here for that game, and he was talking that he rode back from Minnesota or something with you, and you guys rocked out the whole way home. And
that was Justin Morneau.
Oh, that was Justin Morneau?
Yeah, so Justin was in the AAA All-Star game, and we were playing in Pawtucket that year, and he didn't want to get his early morning flight, so he's like, "Can I just get a ride with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he got in my car, and then he saw back. This is when CDs,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before,
I remember the story.
And so he saw my CDs, and he's like, "Metallica." Really? I'm like, I was a little nervous. I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's go." And so so we just rocked
2 in the
out.
morning.
6-hour drive back from Pawtucket. It was
great.
great.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, it was one song, 6 hours.
No, RJ. All right, Dan, thank you so much for coming on the Rock and
Thank
Hockey
you,
Show.
guys.
Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
Hey, anytime.
We'll see you at the rink.
Yeah, we got to get you out there.
Let's do a quick sign off here, and we'll wrap up the show. I want to say thank you to everybody listening. Make sure you check out not only the podcast on all your major podcast platforms, check out the YouTube show on YouTube, obviously, The Rock and Hockey Show. I want to say thanks to our sponsors, Shinny Hockey Co., TryToRochester.com, Pirani's Hockey World, and Howie's Hockey Tape. Thanks for helping the Rock and Hockey Show be successful, and we will catch you guys next time and say bye to this beautiful setting, Arch.
Oh, I love it.
All right, thank you for watching the Rock and Hockey Show.
Thanks, guys.
Check out Trada. It rocks, just like the Rock and Hockey Show.
This skill development session brought to you by our good friends at Pirani's Hockey World. The off-season or any time is a great time to work on power skating and overall skating skills. Single leg knee bends is a great way to work on leg strength, balance, and gliding. Notice the deep knee bends while maintaining good skating posture. Double leg squat jumps from your hockey position is a great way to work on explosive movements, balance, and overall athleticism. Single leg squat jumps is an even more difficult exercise, again focusing on balance, explosive movements, and overall body control. Again, notice the deep knee bends while working on good skating posture. Your skating stride is something that can always be improved upon, focusing on good technique, skating confidence, and being efficient. Notice the good starting position at home base with a good glide, long, powerful arm and leg extensions, and a good, steady, fluent, and rhythmic motion. Again, notice the deep knee bend, a good glide with 1 and 2 legs, and long, powerful arm and leg extensions. Crossovers need love just like striding does. Crossovers are used to gain speed while changing directions. Notice the high knee drive to generate power and a good forward lean to gain momentum. Notice the explosive pushes off both inside and outside edges so that both legs work independently to gain speed and momentum. Remember, crossovers are used to gain speed. Notice the quick, powerful steps to accelerate and gain top speed.
Welcome to Trotta, and welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show. This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey, a little hockey from home, cross training.
This is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Gotta go, I gotta try, I gotta get all I can just to get by. I gotta fight, I gotta win, I gotta turn it up so high just to begin. All I wanna do is to survive every time I play. Make me feel like I'm alive. Do it like I mean it. Do it like I care. You gotta do it like you mean it. Do it to him, brother, like you want.
So hey, I'm Caleb Haney, former NFL and Chicago Bears quarterback, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hi, I'm Haley Wynn from Clarkson University, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Keith Robert War, and I'm hanging out with Dave, and you're watching Rockin' Hockey.
I'm Dan Mason from the Rochester Red Wings, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.